Hey everybody, welcome back to the Resident Evil 1 commentary as far as the Jill scenario goes, the final part. So salute for Resident Evil 1 on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
We knew your polygonal graphics well.
So we'll be doing the Chris scenario for the remake, which means we've got the opposite setup from SGB.
That was the plan.
If you wanna see the other scenarios in the other version of the game, just head over to SGB and watch their playthrough.
And turn the volume down.
Yeah.
Because fuck, our mic quality sucks.
How long ago did you do that?
That was really early, 2011.
You see, I actually remember original SGB, like before you rebranded yourself and started over. So that was like 2009 or some shit.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah. So you know, that's how you know
there's
I've
another
got
white hair.
real
There goes another white hair.
SGB street cred going on. Jeez.
Wesker.
The S stands for street cred.
Fine job, Barry.
Sure, whatever.
Man, I just can't get over how Streets of Rage Jill looks in this outfit.
Stay away from Barry, Jill.
maybe I'm only thinking of that because Streets of Rage 4 is on its way though.
I cannot believe I live in a world where that game actually got a sequel.
Cruel.
Well, you don't have to worry about anything because you'll be.
It looks
free
beautiful
in this
too. Like the
world
graphics in
very
that look
soon.
amazing.
Oh, I can't wait to play it.
Why do you have to destroy stars?
That's Umbrella's intention. This laboratory has been engaged
Says
in
with the
dangerous
demeanor of a pouty
experiments
child.
recently. Anyway, this disaster-
I don't think we give this game and its voice acting the respect it
That's why
really
stars
deserves.
nosing about.
I mean,
So inconvenient.
it's
So you're a
beautiful.
slave of Umbrella
I'm
now.
pretty sure like everybody here is like
Violence
in-house,
monsters.
like studio.
Well, not necessarily in-house, because, well, it's a bunch of English-speaking Americans, you know.
Well, wasn't one of them the?
Allison Court, Claire.
Yeah,
was
was a
she
localizer
handled
at-
English. She was localized.
Well,
for Capcom.
well, you know, in Resident Evil 2's case, but I think the casting process for Resident Evil 1 was a hell of a lot more eclectic.
Are the people who play the actors in the FMV the same people who voice the?
No.
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 Okay.
How come both Umbrella and
I guess that
you
makes sense because there
intimidated
wasn't
him
really a
by
whole lot
taking his
of
family's
dialogue
hostages?
in the FMV.
That would, if that's the case, that would explain why their mouth movements in the FMV were so exaggerated, because they were actually just trying to make something that some other actor could lip sync to later.
Which makes me wonder if there's B-roll of like the original voice
So
of
you're
Chris
planning
Redfield in
something
the
else?
live action
If you
shit.
succeeded in developing the world's most
Or did he just
powerful
pantomime? No,
biological
don't go.
weapon, what would you do? What if you were in charge?
You must stop this now.
Man, Johnny Bravo, you're an
Brave
asshole.
girl. But if I were you,
But man, I'm pretty.
I wouldn't give up such a big discovery. You guys are
Johnny
idiots.
Bravo, an asshole? You
No
don't
one
say.
understands its real value.
Well, that's one of those things you realize later is that Johnny Bravo is supposed to teach you not how to act around women,
Show you the
or supposed to teach them
How to not act out, how to not act around women, but you know, same difference.
Yeah, that's what
It's
I meant.
also it's also kind of
Hurry.
unsurprising when you learn later that Seth MacFarlane did work on that
How's
show.
your family?
Yeah, no, it's.
I was listening to what you
It makes a lot of sense. Although I don't remember an awful lot of like cutaway type stuff in Johnny Bravo too often.
No.
But
Maybe more with the second season.
Masterminded by
how many seasons did Johnny Bravo get?
It's good that
I
Only
think
like
just
2.
two.
Were they like 26?
But it went through
episodes?
a bit of an art shift in the second season, which I didn't like.
Yeah.
A lot of Cartoon Network shows had that, because like Dexter's Lab had one of those too.
Well,
I don't really understand why they did it. They had such iconic stuff going, and then they
It
just
was.
changed the
It
look
might
of
have been a
everything.
shift to digital animation.
Well,
like-
that doesn't necessarily require you to change the art style, though.
Yeah, why change the designs?
Like, I understand why it happened in the case of Batman the Animated Series, because it was actually being put in the hands of the people who were already doing that same art style in the Superman show. So,
For better or worse.
yeah. So I mean, there are.
Well,
Are-
also the seasons 1 through 3 were also ridiculously expensive to make.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why the changes need to be made, but it's like at the same time, I'm also going to compare
Yeah.
designs to before, so a lot of them
Oh,
are a step down.
Jill is suddenly wearing her armor again.
Yeah.
Hold on, Hold on, Barry. I gotta change.
The original Resident Evil 1 Tyrant is a thing of beauty. It's so weird. Just this whole design, instead of looking like a genetic abomination, it's kind of just like a gray mass with red on it.
Wesker is a crazy man.
You don't say.
Crazy, I tell you. Crazy.
But we can't let it live.
It's also weird because later Resident Evil games, you'll be fighting stuff like this by mid-game,
That must be the
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more or less.
Yeah, you don't have to wait long in the B scenario to run to Mr. X.
Yeah, but on the other hand, Mr. X, you can't really do anything more than stun him for a while. So you're not exactly
Yeah, you
fighting.
Knock him down. You can knock him down and take his bullets. I don't know
Yeah.
why he has them, but he can take them.
Well, he has to hurry and get to his robot tournament.
I like the beating heart, which is literally just a model that is pulsating in size, rather than actually having a beating animation. It's just growing and shrinking.
Honestly, I find 5th gen techniques for how they get stuff to do what they want far more interesting than a lot of modern stuff, because, you know, part of modern game development has been making a lot of this kind of stuff less more easy for people to do, but that means that you don't get all the really cool workarounds, like, for example, like developers just leaving stuff underneath the floor where you can't see it and teleporting it around in order to make you think that characters are moving and stuff like that. Like, I miss that kind of I miss that kind of stuff when learning about how games are developed. I guess I don't miss it in terms of the games itself, because it's probably horribly inefficient to have stuff you're not seeing lying around, you know, wasting resources.
Well, not necessarily. The reason they do that is because it's efficient, because because it requires less technical power from the system than otherwise doing it would. Nowadays, game design's gotten pretty inefficient in general. Really, data size, all that kind of stuff. We've gotten too used to having so many gigabytes to stuff our games with that.
You know, that is true, because I got Dragon Quest XI last week, and, well, technically this week, but it's almost Sunday, so whatever. And, you know, like, having to wait for it to install 20 gigs onto the system is annoying. So, you know, I'd be happy with them shrinking.
God forbid when it updates.
Yeah, so... well, no, you see, this game's actually done. They're not going to release 5 different DLC packs in order to finish the story.
No, that's not even that. I'm just talking about patch updates
Yeah.
if they find, like, a game-breaking bug.
Yeah. So, anyway, yeah. So, basically what I'm saying is that I hope that they try to shrink file size as opposed to bloating it further and further, but I'm sure that increasing graphical demands and having the prettiest screenshots and trailers will mean that file sizes will only continue. So, you know, that sucks, but whatever. It just is.
By the way, fuck this siren.
It doesn't end. Alert! Alert! Alert!
My favorite is the English as hell voice that you hear when the alarm is going in Resident Evil 2.
You see, I'm
Because
kind of...
What was it English? Because I always
if you
figured
listen
it was,
to the inflection of the words, it is very obviously being spoken by someone whose native language is Japanese.
Oh, you see, I always figured that the voice for the automated sequence was the same voice as Ada, because they sound pretty close.
I don't know. Ada can pull off an American accent easily, so...
Maybe the direction was quite English.
You see, one thing that I actually... I know we know it as the SA2 siren, but that's just a stock sound effect that's in a ton of different games. So
Yeah,
I always
but I
try to
always
listen for
associate it with SA2.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
because that's just the one we played first / the most. So, yeah.
There's also like specific door sound effects in RE2 when you get to the lab that I always think of that game and Doom.
There's a specific, like, kind of da-da kind of sounding sound effect that's in a lot of games, but I associate it with SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. So, yeah.
The Chimera is interesting because you like barely see it in the game. It's got such a distinctive design, but you barely see it.
Maybe in a range mode they fixed that up. Yeah, but see, that's the Magnum right there. I just aim, pop.
Hand cannon.
Do you play the arrange mode of this game a lot, or remake,
Never.
I should suppose? Or do you just stick
Nah.
with the... Because I find that for a lot of games, I usually don't touch the special modes too often, most of the time. There are some exceptions.
The one mode I kind of want to try out for myself in Remake is One Dangerous Zombie.
Oh yeah, we're zombie. What's his name? Forrest.
I think it's Forrest.
Yeah. Okay. So this is brilliant, by the way. There's this one zombie Forrest, who's a member of Bravo team. He has bombs strapped to him, and if you shoot him, the mansion blows up. So,
Yes.
so
And
you
does he
You
have
just
to.
have to do everything in your power to avoid them.
Can you
Yeah.
swipe at him with your knife?
No.
Oh,
No, you
okay,
can't
so
fight
the
him.
knife explodes him. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, you know, a lot of bombs are rigged to go off if they're meddled with. You know.
Does it explode if he goes under 55 miles an hour?
Well, he's not running at you.
Yeah, Remake had a lot of interesting stuff added in, so.
Did they bring back the dangerous zombie mode?
To my knowledge, no.
Lame.
Well, the thing about it is, Forrest was already a dead body that you found in the game to begin with. So, I guess they just had a funny idea of something else they could use that asset for and followed up on it. Why does this place have a dedicated prison area?
Yo.
They've got a
Yo.
shark lab and a
So you're
giant,
okay.
you know,
You too.
whatever that show with who's whatever.
talk about
The
Well,
Well, I'm just saying,
plants
did they
musical.
anticipate enough? Did they anticipate enough intruders to actually spend money building a specific area of the lab for it?
I guess. Back to that damn siren. Come along,
Wow,
Chris.
Jill, that's obnoxious.
Come along, Chris. We all know you're too stupid to do anything on your own.
Why couldn't I hear that from inside myself? I mean,
Maybe if we play Moonlight Sonata.
Do you know how, Chris?
Oh no!
yeah, Chris's original Resident Evil voice was something.
I just think of Richter from Symphony of the Night.
Well, do you see his? Oh, who's his voice actor now? So I know it's Sonic. Not Troy Baker.
Roger Craig Smith.
Roger Craig Smith. Yeah, that's kind of like his default voice is Chris. So you know, it's just like
Actually, I think Chris is being voiced by someone else now.
Yeah, it's not Roger Craig Smith anymore.
oh, okay.
But I know what you mean.
Because there are some, like, I know that I'm not saying this to rag on voice actors, but for some voice actors will just basically use their normal speaking voice for a certain character.
Mark Meer. Yeah, you know that generic as hell commander sounding voice that Commander Shepard has? Apparently that's Mark Meer's regular speaking voice.
Seth MacFarlane.
Maybe he
know.
was cast because he happens to sound like a generic commander.
But yeah, Brian is just Seth, from Family Guy, is just Seth MacFarlane's normal speaking voice, right?
A little deeper, but it's essentially the same.
Yeah. Because he also voices like half the characters on that show, so, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one way to save on budget.
Well, I mean, The Simpsons
Barry,
been
what are
doing
you
that for
doing?
years as well.
Barry.
I love you, Chris.
I love you too.
Okay, you guys can write your Barry Chris weird ship fan fiction later, alright? That siren's still going off.
I
Okay.
love you very, very much.
Alright, I love this battery because its only purpose is to make sure that you have an open inventory space during the final boss. Because if you didn't, you'd be screwed. You need the rocket launcher.
There is 3 minutes until explosion.
Also, they have the same idle animations.
Of course, that also means that if you get here and you don't have an open inventory space, you can't pick up the battery, so you have to go back to an item box and clear something out, or use a healing item or something.
Yeah, and the countdown doesn't start until you put the battery in there. Which, by the way, it's kind of screwy because the countdown starts in the middle of the cutscenes. It doesn't give you exactly 3 minutes. It's more like a minute and
3 minutes
30,
should
I
be
think it was.
3 minutes should be plenty.
Anyway, I don't think the final boss actually triggers during all of the endings. I think you need at least a good ending in order
Chris, set
to...
the timer for 15 minutes. I can't count that high. 3 minutes should be plenty.
I think you need at least a good ending in order to trigger the final boss of this game. The final boss is just the Tyrant again, except it moves faster.
No, you can fight the... I think you fight the Tyrant no matter what. Because you escape via helicopter.
Yeah, but I don't think the boss actually comes at you during all of the endings.
No, I'm pretty sure it does.
You know, it might in Remake, but I don't know. At least we're not playing Resident Evil Survivor, because this would be the best part of the game if we were.
Is that the light gun one?
It's the light gun game that had its light gun functionality removed in America, yeah.
Oh.
So what's the point?
At that point, you're just dooming the game to failure, because, like, it was apparently a passable enough light gun game, but, you know, when you're
I honestly thought dooming the game to failure was a pun.
At least we have Umbrella Chronicles now? Question mark?
Ugh, that's a rail shooter. Gross.
Well, I mean, it's closer to a light gun game because, well, most light gun games were rail shooters.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The Resident Evil Survivor was you walked around and explored in massive air quotes because there wasn't much exploring to actually do. But
you see, honestly, I wouldn't want to do that if I was playing a light gun game. If I'm playing a light gun game, I just want to shoot stuff. You know, I'm not really in the mood.
Of course, since you emptied your magnum into the final boss, we didn't get to see the final boss actually fight you for very long, did we?
Actually, it walks slowly towards you and swipes at you. If you're far enough away, we'll run towards you.
And it's gone.
Can you walk back? Wow, those explosions are terrible.
Yeah.
If you walk back, like I know that they have a timer, so
okay.
I don't know.
Look
if
at that. Look at that smoke. It's the same puff of smoke graphic, like copied and pasted over
just
itself.
Repeat it like 8 times.
17 times. It's great.
Well, what was the question, Ted?
So, is there enough time to go and then get an item from the item box and then go back to this place with the full inventory and screw up the game?
No, you can't. You can't
go
leave the
back.
area.
They made sure that you would have that empty space so that you could pick up the rocket launcher because it's the only way to win.
And there's no other healing item or whatever lying around for you to pick up and potentially... No, okay.
Now, if you
Just
look out the window to the left, you will see a flock of pterodactyls searching for new nesting grounds.
Oh my god, they didn't even have the mansion blow up. They just put an explosion graphic over the mansion.
Yeah.
I love the
that's
90s. Oh my god.
That's one of the many things that the remake improved is that you actually get to see the mansion actually explode.
Along with all the evidence that Umbrella was up to terrible crap.
I don't think Jill and Chris ever get into any sort of romantic relationship, so that moment is completely pointless.
We also never see Rebecca in Jill's scenario.
No, she just kind of doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, you never see Barry in Chris's scenario. Although Barry does appear in the FMV no matter what in the remake. So it's just...
So he died. They left him behind.
Yeah, that's the implication.
Oh wow, they didn't put a last name for any of these people. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The novel is interesting in that it's a mix of the two campaigns running at the same time. Chris and Jill get separated, and rather than one of them having to rescue the other, they're both exploring the mansion simultaneously, which was an interesting way to write it. Saga Yasuyuki. Background story was done by someone named Saga. That's...
It was meant to be.
Okay. I never noticed that before, but that was great.
It's like, what's your name, Saga? Well, you got to be involved in the story somewhat.
I'm an artist.
Oh, now your background story. What the fuck does that mean?
Okay, so we have sharks, tarantulas, and snakes in this semi-realistic haunted mansion. Explain why they're there. Now go.
A douchebag with sunglasses in a lab coat.
I'm a scientist. Come on, fellas, do the microphone.
Oh, man.
Now inject the sharks with the T-virus. That was $25.
Wait, are they actually listing the names last name, first name?
Yeah, it
I
looks
think
like
they
it.
are.
Yeah.
Huh. So his last name was Saga. So it's part of the Saga family.
I never liked the Saga games. They were always way too confusing for me.
Was your first game Unlimited Saga?
No. Technically, the only one I played was like one of the spiritual successors. I forget what it was called, but it wasn't good. So
It's weird because these credits are in English. I've never seen like the English translation of credits for a Japanese game actually do the names in the Japanese order. They usually swap them around so that people who are used to seeing the first name first. Yeah.
there was a biohazard. Those are not real instruments. Okay, I'm gonna call some bullshit on that one.
Well, the guy's hearing is pretty bad. He did name it though.
It's also almost like he never wrote the song in the first place.
There were it's actually surprising how few plagiarism scandals there were in video games, because you'd think that there would be more considering how long they've been going on. But the only ones I can think of is this one. Actually, I was gonna say Kenji Yamamoto for Dragon Ball, but that's more of the anime than the Budokai games. They were just kind of
the thing about that is by necessity of their creation, most video games are put out by large publishers who have their dedicated people to look into and figure out what
that's a good point.
Is and isn't plagiarism, which is why Resident Evil is called Resident Evil in the West, because Biohazard was taken by something else at the time.
I think it was a music band.
Yeah, I think it was a music band.
As opposed to what other kind of band, John?
A rubber band?
Yeah. Fuck you, Ted.
Damn it.
A rubber band called Biohazard.
The first thing I think of, though, is I don't know what show it is, but the picture with Steve Buscemi in all the kid clothing and the skateboard, and he's got the shirt that says music band on it with AC/DC.
Lightning bolt.
Yeah, so
well, this was fun. We'll be getting into the remake another time, but first we're going to commentate over Silent Hill.
Or conjunctionally with this one, depending on how you're viewing things.
Well, yeah, from your perspective, viewers, you're probably seeing Silent Hill before we get to this point. But I'm looking forward to Silent Hill. Can you tell?
So if we beat the game faster, does Jill wear sexier clothing here or something?
No.
I don't think so. I think
if
it's
I
always
were
the same.
23 minutes, yeah, it's always the same image. If it was just 23 minutes faster, I would have got the infinite rocket launcher.
Aw.
Oh well.